You too. What's going on? Matt Garland here, NMLS number 58700, better known as MG the Mortgage Guy.
And my name is Quiana Watson, license number 317576, better known as broker extraordinaire.
The broker extraordinaires in the building. Kiana Watson, how the hell are you today?
I am doing wonderful. I'm just making it. How about yourself?
I'm alive and blessed. God is the greatest. We woke up this morning. Everything else is cherry on top. You know what I mean?
I agree. I agree.
Look, so we got an action-packed show today for the folks. I'm excited about today's show. And first of all, I want to tell you and Anthony, congratulations.
Thanks.
You guys built the home and now you sold the home and the closing was today. So shout out to you and Anthony for that one. That was dope. I saw y'all in the stories with all the Black excellence. It was beautiful. So shout out to y'all.
Thank you so much. I'm excited about the growth and elevation. I think that we all are in that space where you do one thing for a while and you want to keep going. So I appreciate that. We know we have big things coming. WRC develops on the way, y'all. Just stay tuned.
Let's go. We got some money coming to you, Kiana Watson and Anthony Watson. Let's go. We develop in Atlanta.
It's time.
You know what I'm saying? And
So,
you know what? That's going to lead us into our first topic today, right? Because there's a lot of news going around. So, Rants and Gems, we want to be the source of the information to give you guys the real information, not the clickbait stuff, so that you guys could just like and watch and have all the fear mongering. And being the fact that, there's a housing shortage right now in America, the inventory of homes for sale are currently growing right now, right?
Yeah.
So, Kiana, what's your thoughts about this?
I feel like the inventory is actually growing, but it's not growing at a substantial rate. We feel like I can tell you now when I listed my house on the market and we already pretty much had it under contract, we actually got 3 offers, blind offers, 2 cash offers within an hour. So I say that to say the market is still, in my opinion, it's still high demand. We still have low inventory. We have high demand. I feel like what's cooling off are the higher price points and the price points where a lot is unaffordable for some people. But the affordable homes and then the real luxury homes across the board, they're still selling.
Yeah, they're still selling like hotcakes. Inventory right now, if you look at year over year, is up 13%. May of 2022 to May of 2021, which I don't want people to, and there's a lot of clickbait out there where people are looking at this as, oh my God, so much inventory, it's going to turn into a buyer's market. I want you guys to kind of pause right now on that one, right? Kind of pause and take a deep breath on this one, right? Because although inventory is increasing 13% year over year, that does not mean it's a buyer's market right now. I think nationwide, we are still less than 2 months of inventory in the market, even with that increase that's happening right now. And we're still seeing buyers out there in the marketplace buying. There's still offers. Are there multiple offers like there were a year ago? Of course not. No. But there's still demand out there.
I agree. And there's still demand. I think we also have to be mindful that even with the market cooling off a little bit, it's a cool off. But it's a cool off because we had so much demand from COVID. See, when COVID happened, what it did is a lot of people stopped buying. So when they stopped buying, we had a lot of built up demand. Then they came out with lower interest rates. Those lower interest rates caused a marketing frenzy, along with a lot of millennials were just ready to buy. It was just the time. It was the time for millennials to purchase. So when you add all of that to pent up market demand, we had a phenomenal last 2 years. There were so many people because they were just ready to purchase. It didn't matter. It was more about interest rates and the fact that these millennials are ready to purchase. Now everybody has kind of gotten their homes. Rates have increased, right? But demand is still there. We still don't have enough inventory to satisfy the demand. So it still won't be another 2007, 2008 where we had too much inventory. We pretty much have no inventory still to this moment. People are just taking a step back because of the rapid increase with the interest rates.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. And you're gonna have sellers out there that probably was waiting for whatever reasons they was waiting. I don't know why they was waiting. They didn't take advantage when the money was the cheapest ever in history. But now
Agree.
people are scared to death that rates are going up. They need to get in and sell their house before they get priced out. So I anticipate when the June numbers come out, we're going to start seeing that increase of the supply because of that fear. And, buyers take advantage because let's move on to the next topic where we talk about the price cuts now. Right. There's a lot of price cuts that are happening on properties. And I like the way it's all big and bold for you guys because it's more
More price cut.
price cuts are coming, right? Price cuts were seen on about 10 and a half homes in May. That's up
Right.
6.2% year over year, according to Realtor.com. You being the broker extraordinaire with over 40 agents, might I add, right? You
Uh,
guys are out there opening doors, schlepping these people around. Are you guys seeing more price cuts on your end?
Absolutely. I'll speak specifically for the Metro Atlanta area. I was watching it the day that interest rates went up. That was last week on Tuesday. It was at 5.8%. Then by the end of the day, it was at 6%.
Mhm.
I started watching the market. It was 1,100 homes that went. They reduced their price within 7 days. We've had 1,700 properties on the market reduce their prices. Well, we'll do a price improvement. And what that tells me is a lot of these sellers that thought that waited too long, they missed the mark to really maximize on their net proceeds. But that's also telling me that we have to get back to pricing properties appropriately and price them based on what's going on in the market. It was
Oh,
so long that we were just putting properties on the market, making up prices. And because we had so much pent up demand, we could sell it without actually having a comparable property. But now we have to get back to the basics as real estate professionals and price these properties right. So the price decreases, I feel like, is because they were overpriced in the first place.
I'm glad you said that, right? Because I think when people see these price cuts, it's
Mhm.
because people are just unrealistic from the beginning. You see, during the past 2 years, you could literally throw some ish against the wall and it will stick,
Yes.
right? Right
Yes.
now, there's not the market, and you have a lot of realtors out there and sellers. I'm not going to throw it all on the realtors, but mostly the sellers who are just super unrealistic about what the house is truly worth. And they feel as if it's still the market it was 6, 7 months ago, where you can get above asking price, multiple offers, and the market has shifted on them. So those homes that are priced 10, 15, 20% above where it should be, it's expected, in my opinion, for those houses to go down. But a well-priced home, like you said, is always going to sell. And it's always going to
Absolutely.
sell at the right price.
A well-priced home will always sell at the right price. Like, it's not about, like, I don't want people to get mixed up. It's like, oh, the prices are going down, we're about to plummet. The prices are actually just going back to the actual value of the property. And when we talk about value is subjective. The value of a property is based on what a buyer will spend for the home.
Mhm.
It's not necessarily what you think it's worth, it's what a buyer will say it's worth. So if last year a buyer felt a property was worth paying 20,000 above asking price and they paid it and they closed, that's the value. Right now, the value is saying the properties are like, no, we don't want to pay that anymore. We want a reasonably priced property. So it's just correcting itself. We're in the middle of a correction. I don't foresee this being a crash at all because we still don't have enough inventory. And this happened to me. And you guys know I'm a broker extraordinaire, and it just happened to me. I listed a property at 650 where I knew the price should have been 599. Right?
So
Listed at
why the
650.
hell did you list that property at 650, Kiana? And
So
you
I could
know,
shoot my shot.
closed mouth don't get fed.
Shoot my shot. So I shot my shot and it didn't work. But guess what? I went back and reduced the price to the original price that made sense based on the comparable sold properties to 599, and we got an offer for 635,000. So when you price a property correctly for a seller, it opens the door for people to feel like, oh, it's priced right. Let me pay above asking to still win the offer. And this just happened a week ago.
Yeah, look, I mean, with all that still being said, right? year over year right now, we're at an all-time high with the existing medium hold price is around $407,600. That's up annually at 14.8%. 14. I don't want that number to go over your head. Type in the comments 14.8% is the equity appreciation right now, year to date. So when you hear people on the internet, and shout out, let's highlight our guy, big 500 in the building. We appreciate the super chat, boss. We appreciate you and keep going, right? So if you shout out to everybody with the super chats, but if you look at the marketplace of what's happening, you see all this clickbait stuff out there, you're going to keep having appreciation. And that's what we're trying to keep telling people, right? Even if you see inventory growing, you see more price cuts coming, look at the numbers. The data does not lie. It's still up 14.8% year over year. Now, I expect that number to go down if rates continue to go up, right? And inventory continues to grow. But we're still going to have appreciation, in my opinion, by the end of this year, 5 to 10%, depending on the market. What's your thoughts?
Absolutely. Our appreciation values were through the roof, and it didn't make sense in the first place. Like, we were just lucky to have 18% on average appreciation values for the last 2 years in the metro Atlanta area. That is well above average. We're talking about 10x, where on average you should be appreciating anywhere between 3 to 6% each year. So when you think about those percentages and those numbers, it was above average because of the pent-up demand. Now we're just, again, correcting ourselves and getting back to where we need to be. But when you look at, everyone wants there to be a crash. Why won't this? Is not 2008. In 2008, we had so many people that were in loans that were basically, underwater. So in 2007, before the market crash, there were 13.1 million ARMs, which is adjustable rate mortgages, right? That represented 36% of all mortgages. So back then, when they were underwriting those loans, you could just do whatever you want. You kind of just say, I got a pulse, I got a credit score, I can get a loan. Now, there's still so many guidelines in place. I don't foresee that being the same case now, because you can't just go get any loans. And a lot of our loans now are fixed. Now, I am seeing adjustables come back a little bit. See, I haven't heard adjustables in a long time, but 2 days ago, I started seeing lenders bringing it back out.
Yeah, the demand for adjustables is definitely out there. You know what? Since you brought up the topic, let's educate the people. Let's segue to this. First of all, before we segue, I need everybody to hit the like button. We almost got 1,000 people on this live, so we need y'all to share this out with 10 people if you love Rants and Gems and Quiana Watson and myself. Comment, like, subscribe, share with your people right now. Let's get this up to 2,000 people before the end of the show. But let's segue on why this won't be another 2008. Tukes, cue the slides, baby. Let's go. We're going to give y'all some education today. Y'all come to the right place. Y'all better get a pen and pad because we got slides, baby, on Rants and Gems.
We got slides and we're excited about it. It's really,
y'all better throw some fire in the chat if you ready for some slides, baby. Let's go. All right, y'all. So look, let's give you guys a breakdown of history of why this what looks nothing like the Great Recession, because I know you guys are on YouTube and seeing all the clickbait, but we're here to give you the real facts. Let's go to the next slide. All right. Quiana just mentioned the lending standards are tighter, right? Now, if you look at this slide, now feel free to screenshot this, put it in your stories, tag Rants and Gems, Quiana, and myself, and we will reshare it. So feel free, right? So if you look at the lending standards, they have tightened since the crash. So I want you guys to pay attention to those yellow bars, right? That's from 2003, 4, 5, 6, and 7. That's showing you the volume of loans in billions with a credit score below 620. Look at the height, right? You're talking about 350, almost pushing $400 billion worth of mortgages where people with sub 20 credit scores. And then obviously you see the crash, it started decreasing during a Great Recession. And as you look going into the last 5 years, you have less than 100 billion worth of loans being originated with subpar 620 credit scores. But the big difference is, like Quiana said, is the lending standards. Back in those wild cowboy days, I was originating back in those days. And let me tell you, I had a field day. I made a lot of money during these days because I was first in the business, fresh. Like it was great. You needed a post to get a loan, and you could get a loan. 100% financing, 580 credit score, 6% sales concession, buy 3 houses at the same time, close at 3 different banks. It was beautiful.
The 3 houses at the same time is what I'm talking about right there.
That's a fact. Next slide. All right. Now look at the foreclosure activity.
Oh my
right?
God. I'm so excited about this slide. This slide in particular, I just like to interject and tell all of you to please screenshot this so you can stop waiting for some type of foreclosures to hit the market. Okay, go ahead, man. I'm gonna let you finish.
I need y'all to put some more fires and like this video because we're giving y'all real live game right now. So look at 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Look at all the yellow, right? But look at the height of the foreclosure crash, right? You got 2.3 million, 2.8 million, 2.9 million foreclosures that happen in the market because of all those subprime loans below 620 credit scores. But look at the foreclosure activity, because I know a lot of people like to talk about, well, before the it's going to be a lot of foreclosures because of the pandemic, and I got a slide for y'all on that one too. But if you really look at the lending, how it tightened up, you can see the foreclosures have been decreasing from 2016 on, right? Decreasing. Look at 2019, less than 500,000 foreclosures. That is nothing compared to what it was some 10 years ago. Nothing at all.
Let's just go ahead and talk about today. Right now, there are 78,000 foreclosures on the market in comparison to at the height of the crisis in 2010, it was 2.9 million. So when you guys are sitting here waiting for some huge foreclosure crisis to take place, I don't know what you're waiting for. The numbers are just not adding up. It doesn't make sense. And we're just following numbers here. This is not an opinion. These are facts.
These are straight facts. Next slide, folks. All right, look at the inventory. And we talk about inventory all the time, right? So look at 2007 to 2010. Look how many months of inventory. Now, remember, guys, if you're below 6 months of inventory, it's considered a seller's market. And when you're above 6 months of inventory, it is a buyer's market. Obviously, there was a lot of inventory in the streets during that time compared to the past 4 years. Even take a look at 2018 and 2019 before the pandemic happened. We were trending down. The market was going up and stuck before the pandemic came around. Like, yeah, I don't think people realize that.
And even from a realtor's perspective, in 2018 and 2019, because I was getting busy in these real estate streets then. Now I'm kind of in management. But in 2018, 2019, I'm going to tell you guys, it was neutral. So the buyers could get a deal. The sellers were getting a deal. It was neutral. You weren't experiencing so many highest and best. You weren't experiencing paying 20 and 30 and 40,000 above asking price because we had a neutral market. It was kind of neutral at that 3 month of inventory. Right now, at 1.8 months of inventory, there's not neutral. This is a seller's market. The sellers actually, they're holding the ball right now. They are in control.
That's a fact. Next slide, folks. Look at the housing market now versus the Great Recession. Now, adjustable rate mortgages, like you said, the demand is high. But I want you guys to pay attention. Right now, there's currently 2.5 million adjustable mortgages on the market versus 2007, there was 13 million. And the arms that are about to reset, meaning that the fixed period is over, is only 1.4 million versus that 10 million back in 07. And that's why you've seen a lot of that activity with foreclosures, a lot of inventory, things of that nature, right? So you have to understand, first of all, a lot of people don't even understand how arms were underwritten back in the wild cowboy days versus now. The standards now, first of all, there was 1 year arms, 2 year, 327s, 228s, 327s. There was negative amortization loans. There was no doc loans with arms, 580, 560 credit score with arms. You can qualify off the teaser rate, not the fully indexed rate. The underwriting standards were not the same as they are today. Today, the most common arms are fixed for 5, 7, or 10 years. Most people are taking 7 to 10-year arms, so you got a longer fixed rate period. And we're fully underwriting, fully documenting these loans, and we're qualifying people off the fully indexed rate, not the teaser rates, right?
Mhm.
So it's a complete difference. So a lot of people now are taking out adjustable rate mortgages, and that demand is high now because that interest rate could be about a point lower than what the 30-year fixed mortgage rate is. So I want you guys to understand, if you're going to take an arm, just please understand, please learn exactly what happens after the fixed rate period, and please have an exit plan in place, because you don't want to get caught holding the bag if you are going to take an adjustable rate mortgage, because at some point that fixed rate period will expire.
And I'm glad you spoke about that because a lot of people are, we need to educate them about ARMs and how that works. Because if you're going into an ARM because you don't want the current 6% rate and a 2.75 or 3% rate for a short period of time seems attractive, understand your exit strategy and also understand how can you refinance out of that into a fixed rate mortgage and what those penalties may be if you chose to do so. So just read the fine print. I don't particularly, I think ARMs are great for investors, people that are in and out of properties, but it just may not work for the typical buyer. That's just my professional opinion.
Agreed. Next slide, folks. 11 trillion tappable equity, up 34%. Homeowners right now are up in the stock. 11 trillion. These are the numbers, guys, in tappable home equity. People, if they fall into trouble, they can sell. Even if they got to take 10, 15% less, they're still going to make money. This ain't the
Absolutely.
times what it was back in the day.
Oh, absolutely. People are being able to sell their properties and make a profit. On average, the average person is making at least $200,000 on an asset that they've owned in the Metro Atlanta area for at least 3 years. So, if you purchase in the right area and you are in a growing area that's high in demand, great schools, school being number one near new development. Anything near the new campuses, they have the new Microsoft campus, Google, anything near development, it is being sold for top dollar. So, if you have some tappable home equity, look into a line of credit if you want to invest with that money, or if you were thinking about selling and you want to use this money for other things, this is the time to consider it, but also have a strategy of what you're going to do next.
Absolutely. Next slide. Adjustable ARM is adjustable rate mortgages, for those who don't know what that is. Adjustable rate mortgages. And this is the last slide for this to show you guys. Look at the forbearance numbers. They're edging down. We're going to get the main numbers on here. We'll present that in the next quarter so we can kind of see. But as you can see, there's less than 1% of homes in forbearance right now. Right. So you have to really look at what's really happening here. The people who was on those COVID relief programs are now exiting those programs. Majority of those people are in repayment and in good standing. So for those of you who are waiting for this foreclosure wave that was going to happen, I hate to break be the bearer of bad news, but I don't think that's coming anytime soon.
I don't either. And I've been watching the market just as you've been watching the market. We're all, there are people that are investors that are hoping for an opportunity, but then there are people that are, you're hoping for other people to lose their homes. And I want you guys to think about that because it's kind of jacked up to even have that mindset. You want to crash so you can take advantage of people. I would say, fortunately for us, there was a lot of responsible lending that took place, and
Mm-hmm.
people are being responsible with their money. They're more educated about what to do when they're earning money. So they're not going to just lose their homes because they're uneducated about the process of working with the lender or making other passive forms of income. So we're in a great time right now where those that took advantage, they took advantage for the time they needed to, but now they're back to work. They're entrepreneurs. They figured it out. So I would say as an investor and a buyer, if you have never purchased a home before and you're waiting for something, you need to consider what you're waiting for because none of the numbers are adding up to what you want. Because I know what you want. You want that you want the mini mansion that was available in 2010. It's not coming back. So
No.
let's just recalibrate and think about how you can move forward and be successful in your investment goals without trying to walk 10 years backwards.
Absolutely. 1000% agree. We got 1,100 people on live with us. I need all y'all to go like the video, share it with 10 people. We got a hot segment coming up right now. You can remove the slides, but I want to address something before we go to the next segment, Quiana, because there's people in the comments, and we're going to engage and interact with you guys. And I hate when people say that. Remember, guys, these two get paid to sell you houses. Look, Quiana Watson and Matthew Garland will get paid whether you sell you a house or not.
Absolutely.
Let's call a spade, right? We are not pushing you to buy a house. We don't have a gun to nobody's head. And I hate when people say, "Oh, they get paid to do this." I mean, so what? Who would you rather get information from? People who are actually active in the market. We're not YouTubers. We're not influencers. We are licensed professionals. So of course we're going to get paid if somebody chooses to buy a home, but we're not putting a gun to nobody's head. Our job, especially with Rants and Gems, is to provide you guys information. So that way you can make a decision. So I hate when people try to downplay professionalism and professionals, right, by giving information because you think there's a hidden agenda behind the information. No. Do you think we have to be here on 8:30 at night doing this? No. We are out here because we want to make sure our community buys real estate at scale and has the proper information.
And let's also let's scale it back. Let's consider the fact that a lot of my clientele now, they're sellers. They're the ones making the money. I'm not, I'm no longer really representing buyers as much as I used to. I've grown in my career. I have 30 agents with my company. So when we're thinking about it from a huge standpoint, I'm talking to both buyers and sellers. I'm talking to both people from both standpoints. If you want to make an income and you want to continue to rent, that is your business. Because I do know someone that's going to purchase a home and allow you to pay their mortgage, and you can rent from them. It doesn't stop the whole process. I think that we have to think about it a little deeper than, oh, they're going to get paid because we're trying to buy a house. Like I just told Matt, me and my husband built a house and we sold that house today. I put that house on the market and I know what I'm doing because I'm a real estate professional. I know what to build and I know what's in demand. We got 3 cash offers, blind cash offers, within an hour of the house being on the market. Within an hour, cash money. What I want you guys to know, there's so many more ways to be profitable in real estate. I can sit here and tell you lies and say, just keep renting forever until something happens. But you're going to end up being that person that actually does rent forever and never owns. There are people in my family that never owned. They're going to rent forever. And if I was to still be ignorant to the market, that would have been me too. I made 6 figures on my first property and it was easy 6 figures. It wasn't like I had to flip it. I bought it, stayed in it, rinsed it for a little bit and sold it and made some money and leveraged that money to make more money. So I don't want you guys to lose the message because you don't like the sender or you want it to always be some conspiracy theory. The numbers don't lie. We just gave you graphs.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And on that note, we're going to go to our next segment, but first we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and then we're going to bring in our 2 special guests. Tukes, cue up the commercial.
So what can I do to help?
We need the biggest.
Look, last year was last year. This year we need to make this the biggest ever. Keyword, ever.
The bigger the fest, the more we invest.
Yo, I'm sorry to interrupt y'all, but paperwork just dropped. Whose paperwork is that? SH.
Steve Harvey?
Yes, sir.
Deal done.
We're talking to the brothers that run Earn Your Leisure. And it's a great convention coming to the Georgia World Congress Center in Atlanta, Georgia, 5th through the 7th. We come back, we're going to have that information for you.
You're listening to the Steve Harvey Morning Show.
You're doing what you call edutainment. See, when you go to InvestFest.com, it's an investment in yourself. Why would you not do that? Why would you not give somebody something that when you walk away, you're better?
InvestFest.com. Make sure you guys go to InvestFest.com. We just announced T.I., the King of the South, will be joining the InvestFest lineup, and we got a few more nuclear bombs. So please do not wait. Do not hesitate. In my Troy voice, y'all need to go to InvestFest.com, get those VIP tickets, get your vendor booth. Let's go, y'all.
Sounds good. I'm excited about InvestFest this year.
Yeah, InvestFest is gonna be a movie, man. So I hope to see y'all there, man. Throw some fire in the chat for InvestFest if you pulling up on us. But now we're gonna go to our second segment. It's called the Real Estate Rundown, and the Real Estate Rundown is basically, real estate is local, y'all, and we spoke about from a national level. But with the Real Estate Rundown, we're gonna be visiting all the top metro areas in America and bring in special guests, investors, real estate brokers, contractors, and they're going to give you the insight on their market because they're out there doing the work, right? So if you would like to sponsor this segment, please email Jordana at rantsandgems.com. Next slide. All right. So is Atlanta still a great place to invest? What do you think, Quiana?
Yes. ATL Shouty. And let me say that with respectfully. Atlanta has the fastest growth in America. There's only 3 cities that are growing at the same pace. That's Atlanta, Georgia, Durham, North Carolina, and Austin, Texas. And the reason they're growing is because we have tech. We have Microsoft here. We have Google here. Knox has their headquarters here. We are the headquarters for so many Fortune 500 companies that Atlanta is an amazing place to invest. We're still more affordable than other major metropolitan areas. We have a diverse group of people that live here, and you can enjoy where you live and still be able to afford where you stay. And when it comes to investors, we still have a very high amount of people that are renting. So those that, if you know, buy a piece of property, because whether you own the property and you live there, or you own the property and someone is renting from you, you're going to win because now you can have increased rents. Our rents in Atlanta are on average around $2,800 a month.
Wow, that's crazy.
And rising for 3-bedroom homes. So you definitely have an opportunity here to invest in the Metro Atlanta area. Next slide.
So, top 5 cities investors have the largest market share of purchases year to date in 2020. ATL number 1, Jacksonville, Charlotte, Phoenix, Miami. You might want to screenshot that, put it in your stories or something like that, right? Top 5 markets, and that's why we're starting with beautiful Atlanta. Next slide.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So now look at this, Quiana, because I don't know zip codes or nothing like that, but these are the top 5 zip codes that investors are buying in Atlanta. What's your thoughts on these zip codes?
So I'm telling you, and surprisingly enough, if you guys were to look in these zip codes, these are not the Metro Atlanta area. You have within the Metro Atlanta area, right? And when you look at like 30296, that's Riverdale. That is going to be closer to the airport, South Atlanta. I also looked up 30153. Let me make sure I give you guys the right information. That zip code is right there in like the Northwest Georgia. Again, none of these are within the perimeter. So what you want to consider is when you're investing in Atlanta, you're not just investing in the city of Atlanta. Go and invest in the places where there are families. There are more blue collar workers in those rural areas because those areas are rural, and most of them will rent before they buy. So if you're a person that wants to invest and you want to rent to a family that is going to be good to your property and consistent, these areas are going to work best for you.
Next slide. Like that. Now, another hot topic that's been, and we're gonna bring up our guests in a minute because we're gonna talk about this Airbnb market is under attack in Atlanta. Atlanta's sick of y'all shit. The city is sick of your shit. The hotels are sick of your shit in Atlanta. Y'all buying all the single families and making them Airbnbs. They tired of it, so they trying to pass some laws and they trying to shut it down.
Yes, they are. This has been underway for such a long time. It's not brand new, but it is still being voted on. And I think that it's important that those that are, if you are an Airbnb and you're doing Airbnb arbitrage, or if you own several properties in the city of Atlanta, this could be a problem for you because they're saying that if you own property in the city of Atlanta, and let's say you own 5 properties and you have an amazing Airbnb portfolio, they're saying you can only have 2. Only 2. So one has to be your primary residence that you can still Airbnb, and the second one is going to be your investment property. So what do you do with the other 3, right? I'm not an Airbnb expert. That's why we called in Alexis, right? I'm not an Airbnb expert, but I will tell you,
Next slide.
this is going to shake the market. And I think it's about greed. You know, it's all about these hotels wanting to get their fees. The money from these hotels are what's fueling, and they bring money to the city of Atlanta. So I personally think it's not just about the fact that other people have found a way to make money. It's the city that feels like they're losing money because of it.
Yeah, so that's like you said, great segue into bringing in our local professionals, experts. We got Alexia Wright. Make sure y'all follow her on Instagram _Alexia Wright. She's a top rated Airbnb super host, currently operating 30 plus Airbnb properties. And we got Nicole Ambrose. Make sure you follow her, Nicole Ambrose Real Estate, on Instagram. She's the top 1% realtor in Atlanta. She's actually in Bali right now too, so she's tapping in from a beautiful place right now in Bali. So we really appreciate her giving her time. And she's also a real estate investor, coach, and runs Airbnbs herself. So we thought this would be two perfect people to discuss Airbnb. So I need you guys to give a warm round of applause, throw some fire in the chat for our special guests, Alexia Wright and Nicole Ambrose. Give it up for them, y'all. Give them some fire in the chat. Let's give them a hand clap. You know what I'm saying? They did not have to be here throwing Nicole in the screen. Alexia, turn your camera on. And let's go. Take us out.
Hey, guys. Good night.
What's going on, ladies? What's up?
Good night. Good morning, girl. I know you're on the other side of the world. How are you doing, Nicole? Unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself, Nicole.
Am I?
Unmute yourself, Alexia. There you go. Nicole, unmute yourself.
There we go.
There you go.
Hey, y'all. What's up, family?
What up? What up? What up?
Look, I forgot to unmute. Y'all was doing such a good job. I was in the screen looking at the slides.
No, I'm over here listening.
Nah, that's dope. Look, ladies, we appreciate you guys coming in and joining us. Nicole, you in Bali living your life. Alexia, we appreciate y'all. And I want to start this conversation off with Alexia because you're managing 30 plus properties. Yes. How is this new ordinance going to affect your business, and what are the hacks to get around this? Because there's always a hack, and we need to know.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys were just discussing the ordinance, right? The thing with the ordinance and the reasoning behind it is the parties that were happening here. So people were renting these big old mansions, and it's one thing for us that have condos or who have apartments versus these millionaires who have these $1 million homes, right? So you got 10 mansions on one block, and 2 of them are rented out for Airbnb, right? So you got the whole block filled up with cars in the cul-de-sac. There's a bunch of people. There's loud noise at 3 or 4 in the morning. They are going to have a problem with that. These are people who get up and go to work. These are people who don't want to hear noise at that time of morning, and that's just what it is. So these people complained for a really long time, and it was for a minute where I even wanted to do something about it. And the thing about it is, y'all, is the good people had to go with the bad people, right? The ordinance also, 2018, Airbnb took $450 million worth of revenue from hotels. So Quiana talked about the hotels. That was a thing also. They took a lot of money. So just think about it. You know, like with a hotel, you get a bed, you get a bathroom, and maybe get a sofa if you're at a suite that has a hotel that has a little suite in it. And then you get this Airbnb for lower or the same price, and you get a whole entire apartment, and you get a balcony.
Correct.
I'm going to go book an Airbnb too. So just like with hotels, with taxis and Uber and Lyft, it was the same model. It was a genius idea to me from Brian Chesky, which is the CEO of Airbnb. I think it was a really great idea. I just think when it got here, the market got saturated and people just started going crazy. There are some really great investors here who actually do what they're supposed to do that had to go with this ordinance. So the thing with the ordinance is they talked about this last year. Mm-hmm. This year, I think it was March 1st, 2022. They put it out that the ordinance will go into effect on April 1st. Correct. The ordinance never went into effect. They extended it to June. Here we are in June. Now we have an extension to September. So my issue now is when they put this out, they had no enforcement plan. They still don't. There's over 7,500 Airbnbs in Atlanta. It's no way possible, y'all. They are getting rid of all these Airbnbs. It's not going to happen. So I think that I also know when they put out this ordinance, a lot of people fell off. there's a lot of Airbnbs that have fell off ever since they put out this ordinance. So what they tried to do kind of worked. I'm on the platform almost every day. I'm looking on there. I'm looking to see what's there because ultimately they're my competition too. Yeah, I run a lot of properties here, but there's people that's getting units every day. People getting furnished every day. You know what I'm saying? So I still feel like whatever's on the platform is always going to be my competition. So I'm always on there. So now the market is just a little different. Like my units are always booked now. That's how I know so many people have fallen off because I literally barely have a vacant day. Like my occupancy after post-COVID was like, I kind of got back up to like 90%. It was like 87 to 90%, which was great because when COVID hit, I went down to 10%. So to go back up to 85, 90% was a huge deal for me. So now I'm like, I get people who try to book off app, like my home, like if I got somebody that I know that comes in town, they're like, hey, I need an Airbnb. I'm like, I don't got nothing. I don't have nothing. Before it could be like a Wednesday. I mean, I could put them in somewhere, but now I'm like, I don't have anything. So now that's how I can tell like a lot of people have fallen off. Like I said, they just don't have an enforcement plan. And personally, me, what I've been telling my students and my audience is I'm not making a move. I'm not letting anything go until they get their stuff together. And that's just the way I'm going about it. When they come to me with a real enforcement plan, my boyfriend, he has really good connect at the city hall. Once he come to me like, look, this is the plan. This is what we're going to go with. And I have a huge audience when it comes to people relying on me because I'm an influencer on Instagram. So I have to tell them something like, I feel a way when I don't have an answer for them. You know what I mean? I feel a way. So my goal, like I literally hit the ground running when they came out with this ordinance. I'm like, okay, look, what y'all going to do? Because one thing about me, y'all, I believe in God. So the first thing I wasn't going to do was it wasn't going to stress me out. We wasn't going to go there. Like I got through this. God made it, allowed me to make it through the pandemic. I'm like, look, God, what's next? Because you ain't going to take me out right here. And the city of Atlanta sure ain't. So Andre, I found out the mayor, he also had like 4 Airbnbs. So I'm like, what you going to do? So this is just not, it's not coming together for me, y'all. They just don't have it all together yet. This is something that I have not stressed about. It's something I've been telling my audience and my students, don't worry about. The news has made it just so bad. The way that they put it out, they make Airbnb sound so sour to people's ears. And it's not because of, like I said, it's not because of the good people. It's the bad people. Mm-hmm. But you know, the good people, as long as you do what you're supposed to do, like when City of Atlanta comes out with this enforcement plan, I don't know when, that's a big jump to go from April to September. You know, that was a huge jump for me. So that just kind of it kind of made me know that they didn't have it together. And then too, with the permits, y'all, the permits are $150 per host. So we did the math, and if you do like 150 times, I think it was like 5,000, it's like 1.1 million. Like the numbers. Hold on.
So that's how much money that the city will make. You saying off a permit?
It was 5,000 times 150. It was 750,000. If you do 7,500 times 150, it was like 1.1 million or 1.2 million or something like that. So suppose now they said every host
5 million.
1.125. Right. So that's correct. So they said for every host has an average of 3 to 4 properties. So if every host has to apply for a permit, we just averaged it to like 5,000 people applying instead of 7,500 because there's 7,500 Airbnbs here. We just did 5,000 hosts. So if we did that, that's 750,000, and that doesn't even mean you're going to get approved. That's just applying, and you can't get your money back if you don't get approved. You just got to revise it to where you meet the requirements. So with the ordinance, they also stated that you have to like sign a homeowner's affidavit to turn in. You have to sign a adjacent adjacent neighbor notification letter. You have to send it. You have to get them to notify them about the letter, send it to them certified, and send that certified tracking number to the city of Atlanta. You have to upload it to the portal when you submit your application. So they kind of thought they had it together, but I don't really know how that's gonna work, y'all. So I think it's a money thing. I think it's a money thing. They made $750,000 or more just off of people applying. Do you know how much money that is for the city of Atlanta just off of one little ordinance that they put together? So
money grab.
This, Alexa. So let me ask you this. So when let's just say, because we know it's out here, they're going to address it. They keep delaying it, but they will address it. Yes. So you having 30 Airbnbs, right? And they're saying basically you can only have 2. Do you have any contingency plans in place And what would you tell our viewers, people that may have 4 or 5 Airbnbs that have really been making a really nice additional income?
Yes.
Like, is there a contingency plan you have in place? And what are you doing to prepare for what could be a shift in this Airbnb market? Because Airbnb is not the only short-term rental site.
That's true. So they are not saying that this ordinance applies to Airbnb. This is a short-term rental ordinance. So it applies to every single short-term rental platform there is. That goes for Airbnb, VRBO, HomeAway, Booking.com, TripAdvisor. That goes for all of them. They didn't say an Airbnb ordinance. So I did see a lot of people also saying that through the media, like people are Atlanta's banning Airbnb. For one, they never said it was a ban. They said they were regulating Airbnbs. With my contingency plan, being that I was an advocate, y'all, it was something that I knew I had to tell the people. Like now you guys are asking me. So as they're going through this extension thing, me and my boyfriend, we have been really working hard with the city of Atlanta, like down at the city hall. We went down there like 3 times, y'all. Like my boy, his brother, he emails me or he'll text me like every other week, like, sis, I'm working on it. So I'm not only working on it for me, but I'm working on it for people that I taught, because it's like you guys have followed me on this wave, and it's like, now what? You know what I'm saying? So right now we're really working to figure out, even if it means getting a certain amount under your business, if you could apply for the actual application under your business. Like I said, y'all, they don't really have it together yet. So when I get information from the city hall, the first thing I do is hold a webinar, or I'll hold a live to let my people know like what's going on. I'm not going. If I'm going, y'all going. If y'all not going, I'm not going. And my people know that's how I feel about anything that I'm doing. I don't go alone. I'm not going by myself. So when I go talk to these people, when I go down here, I have proposals too that I propose to them. Like, look, maybe this could work like this. So like I said, Quiana, they don't really have it together yet. And honestly, I don't have a plan yet, because I don't even know if they really have a plan. So I'm going to start getting stuff together and closing out leases. And then y'all come back and say, you know what? We're not even going to put the ordinance into effect. Y'all good.
So you're just moving business as usual.
Huh?
You're moving along business as usual and just attending these ordinance planning meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. I get invited to them every week. So that's how I'm able to let people know. It's invite only by the city. So that's how I'm able to let them know. And there's also people that are not actually on social media that works really hard behind the scenes for Airbnb hosts. There's a lot of alliance groups that's anti this ordinance. You know what I mean? So there's people who reach out to me, like they'll email me or they'll find me on Instagram like, hey, I heard you had an influence. And I'm like, yeah, like, what are we doing? So there's people behind the scenes too, y'all, that are working to make this work for other hosts, because people actually do this to make a living. There's people who they only do Airbnb. They don't have any other source of income, and y'all are doing this for y'all to make money. And it just doesn't make sense. And it's ultimately not fair. So,
Nicole, what's your thoughts on this, Nicole?
So honestly, one of the things that Alexia said that I wholeheartedly agree with is, from an investor standpoint, a lot of our properties, we put our properties in our LLC names. So if you have 10 different LLCs and you own 2 properties under each one of those LLCs, guess what? Now you can still have 20 Airbnbs. So business does not change. Like anything else, I'm sure Quiana can attest to this. Real estate is simply about strategy. If you have the right strategy, you move forward with your strategy and you keep going. And I love the city of Atlanta. I love Andre. This is going to sound so horrible, but it's facts. Think about now, as real estate investors are going down to try to get permits, think about how long and how unorganized that process is for them to go and get permits. They're throwing in a process that's going to take multiple bodies to have to be able to regulate. They don't have the bodies to regulate what they're doing now down at the city. So to throw an ordinance like this in place and for us to panic is absolutely crazy. I am continuing to do business as usual. I'm instructing people to continue to do business as usual. They don't have the manpower or the resources to back this ordinance right now. So until they get organized with what they have going on, and until we can start getting permits for the things that we're doing to beautify the city in a timely manner, I don't think that we have a lot to worry about, guys.
I like that.
Your strategy is 100% correct when it comes to owning multiple LLCs, because that is going to be the fine print there that they can't control. And we all know what's going on in the city of Atlanta when it comes to permitting, building, renovating, flipping. It is completely unorganized.
Yeah.
I think that we should bet on, if I had to bet on anything, I would bet on your first strategy. And that's some free game. And I want to see some gems being dropped. Because if you drop a couple of gems, imagine if you own 10 properties, right? But if you go back and let me take 8 of those properties and put each two under a different LLC name. Now, if you were to move in that way, you have just worked around this entire ordinance and you can maintain and move business as usual.
So what happens to the folks who don't own the Airbnbs, right? Because I know a lot of folks do like arbitrage and they're leasing the properties and then doing Airbnbs. What happened to those business owners who are renting these apartments and they don't own? What's going to happen to them?
So with the LLCs, right? It doesn't matter if you're doing rental arbitrage or if you're owning. So like when I first started Airbnb, I didn't have an LLC. And I got an LLC down the line. So right now, even though I don't own the ones that I have, I still can have those up under my LLC. So the thing about it is, it's not liability up under the property that you own. It's a liability up under the business itself. That's the thing. So even if you don't own it, honestly, in the rental arbitrage, they get by the most. I believe they actually came for the homeowners first. They don't have a rental arbitrage affidavit. They have a homeowner's affidavit. And even too, a couple months ago, y'all, they actually, Quiana, you know the area, Home Park, they completely told them there was no Airbnb. There's no Airbnb at Home Park. In those,
they shut them down. That town, Home Park, just said no Airbnbs allowed.
No Airbnb allowed.
Do you think other cities around Georgia is going to follow suit like Home Park?
It's like after Atlanta, see, those people probably are down at the city. That little group of people that's in Home Park, they're probably down in the city. Once you get out of Atlanta, it's like what's next? Like, I don't even know why they did the most in Home Park. I think something happened over there, and I wasn't really aware of the issue that happened, but I think something probably happened over there to where they really enforced it. But it's like most of the people that have Airbnbs in Georgia are locating in Atlanta. So it's like, what's next? Quiana, I'm not sure. Is Alpharetta still considered Atlanta?
No, Alpharetta is the city of Alpharetta.
Okay,
but it is in Fulton County.
Okay, so Alpharetta is a really great city. You know, Alpharetta is where a lot of rich people live. There's a lot of really, really big homes out there. There's a lot of money out there, right along Avalon. There's a lot of money out there. So even right out with Cobb Parkway in Smyrna, there's a lot of other surrounding cities that you guys can get in. That's besides Atlanta. Personally, I don't think they're going to do the most in the surrounding areas besides Atlanta. I don't feel like that. If they do, I just feel like they're going to just be they're just going to be doing the most. I don't think it's necessary, man.
And the bigger part too about the Airbnb market is that you don't have to own, you can be a resident of Atlanta, but you can own an Airbnb anywhere. So we don't only have to have an Airbnb. Right now, I'm in Bali. We've been in Bali for over 2 weeks. We've been in 2 different Airbnb villas. So, and one of the villas was actually owned by a lady in China, and the one that we're in now, I think is owned by somebody in the US. So you can actually, we have been here actually looking at different properties to see where we can either build or B, where we can go and get a property that we can actually turn into an Airbnb villa. So if the city of Atlanta they're not going to stop anything for investors in Atlanta. Investors in Atlanta are the most creative investors, in my opinion, across the markets in the US. And we can do surrounding cities, and we also can go to other countries. This is not going to be anything that needs to shake us.
So I'm glad you brought that up about investors in Atlanta. You know, we had slides before you came on, and we show like the top 5 zip codes right now in the metro Atlanta area where investors are just buying up everything. And so far in 2022, Atlanta is #1 for investors. Do you continue to see this trend? Are you seeing more institutional investors for your clientele, or is it more like the quote unquote mom and pop investors?
So I'm moving also over to being a listing agent more so. My daughter is now taking on all of our buyer clients.
Smart.
So from this listing perspective, what I have definitely seen 100% turnaround. Buyers are traditional homeowners are fatigued with this market, with the market, because they're going up against cash buyers that are able to come to this Atlanta market and spend $50,000 to $100,000 over the appraised value for a property. So the investors in Atlanta are strong. This market is not changing. For example, I had a property that just went under contract. I put it on the market on Friday, and it's a mid-level property, 400,000. We had 12 offers, and out of those 12 offers, 8 of them were cash buyers that are investors. 3 of the investors were actually people that reside in Atlanta. Of course, we had some people that have bigger pockets, but some of those investors were right in Atlanta. So now, as I'm seeing my properties that are going on the market, I'm seeing more and more investors that are coming through and less home buyers.
Yes. And Nicole, I'm glad you said that. We were talking about that before you came on. There are so many more institutional buyers, and when you start looking at the numbers, I was reading an article, and I'm going to pull it up. And in this article, I want to say I shared it with Matt, when I'm like, listen, there is a strategy here where these hedge fund managers, they want to basically become the United States landlords.
Correct.
So in order to become a landlord of the United States, they're buying properties in bulk. And when they're doing this, what's going to happen is they're going to outprice you, and the rates are going to continue to rise. The cost of living will continue to rise. The cost of purchasing property will continue to rise. And you'll end up, but the cost of when you're getting paid, that 3% raise every year is not keeping up with inflation. It's just not. And eventually what we're going to see is more home renters than home buyers. And the safe bet is always going to be what me and Matt say. What did we say? Brick and mortar.
Brick and mortar.
Market down. People are buying and selling real estate every single day because brick and mortar is the safest bet for investors.
Well, and I think,
and then we've had since 2020, we've had 114,000 people that have moved into the Atlanta market. And
since
think about
when? Say that number again, Nicole.
2020. Since 2020, we've
Wow.
had
114,000
people that have moved to the Atlanta market. So what I'm teaching my investor students that are going up, snatching up as much as they can in Atlanta, is that when people think about it, if you move to a new city, you're not, most times 75% of those people are not jumping into home ownership. They want to learn the market first. So investors have an amazing opportunity now to build a portfolio with people that are actually selling. I have more clients now that are selling their homes as well, saying, hey, I want to sell my house and I'm gonna go back into a rental until the market changes. I don't know what market they're looking for, but if that's what you want to do after I educate you, I can't tell you how and what to do with your property. I'm saying this is not a time to sell your property to hold it, but because prices that are at an all-time high, they are serious about selling and going back into the rental market. So between that 114,000 people are sellers that are selling their homes, going into rentals, and people are building whole subdivisions right now that are not subdivisions that are for sale. They are subdivisions where every house is 200 houses in the subdivision that are for rent. This is a huge renters market. I'm teaching my investors right now how to go in and build developments that are rental, not for sale, because the real play is not about the money that you can make in 3 to 4 months. It's about the generational wealth where you can teach your children's grandchildren how to have sustainability.
You know, and I think to add on to that, right? I think people need to pay attention to the zoning laws. And this is something Quiana and I talk about all the time. And I know there's people in the comments talking about, well, investors going to start dumping their properties in a few years. No, they're not. Why would they when America's about to be renters, right? There's no reason to dump when rent is up and stuck. But you have to understand why they're buying all these single family homes, especially in a place like Georgia, when you can add multiple ADUs on these properties. And now you can have basically a 2-family house on one property with 2 single family homes. So that's going to create more cash flow because there is a housing crisis. And this is what I try to tell people all the time. It's like, you got to follow what the big boys are doing. We love multifamilies and things like that. But if you're in an area like Georgia, you know, Texas, Florida, where there's not a dense population like the tri-state, where there's multifamilies galore, you have to learn your zoning laws, because that's where the money and the gold is being made. And if you look at all the areas where the top 5 investor cities are, all those have favorable zoning for accessory dwelling units. So this is not rocket science. You just got to be able to pick up on the clues because it's right in front of you.
And it just goes back to the bottom line is, if you buy a property and you are a homeowner or you are a landlord, you know, I just pulled up the article here that says big landlords jump into the home building business as demand for single family rentals surge, right? According to the National Association of Home Builders, there were 13,000 new single family homes that started as rentals in the first quarter of this year. That's up 63% from a year ago. Up 63%. So when you think about homes built for rent represent 5% of the building market, but that's still up 2.7% above the historical average. So when you think about this, and we have people like we've had on our show before, like Pam Brown, that built her own rental community, those that are understanding of the power of ownership in real estate, they are using this as a way to build generational wealth, because no matter what, two things are true. We have to pay for where we live. Whether you are renting or you're buying, you will have to pay for a roof over your head. And that's just a simple science. So Nicole, I'm glad you shared that with your investor group, because that's what everybody, that is the same, that mindset is what we need in order, even if it's one property. Everybody doesn't start out with a big development, but if
I'm glad you said that.
Let's start with the one property. That one property can help catapult you. And it doesn't have to be the property you love. It doesn't have to be a mansion. It can just be a house, a home.
I agree
Quiana,
with that.
do you mind if I give them just a quick method? I'm so glad that you said that about it just being one property, because I think there are a ton of people that are watching this right now that think that buying that one property, that they're living check to check. So they don't feel like that that's actually a possibility for them. And they feel like that they're not able to jump into this real estate market. So do y'all mind if I share just a quick gem with people?
Go ahead.
Okay.
We like gems here on Rants and Gems, Nicole.
All right. In the comments, I want to see some gems in the comments.
Put some gems in the comments and make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, share this with 10 people. Let's get this video up to 2,000 live views, man.
So one of the things that people have to realize is that credit, if you have not already realized in this market, this day and age, that credit is king, you are completely misguided. I want to make sure that you really, it used to be a time when we said cash was king, but right now credit is king, because you can do a method called the Bird method, right? Inside of the Bird method, what you're able to do, I have a program where I can show you how to use somebody else's complete money. They always say that there is no that you don't have any programs, that there's no money down, that you always have to use money down. If you have a 650 credit score, we have a lending institution that we can take you to that will give you $100,000. That $100,000 that they give you, you're able to take that and use that, because this is different than when you're buying your own personal property. When you're doing an investment property, they don't care where you get the down payment money from. So you take that $100,000, you go out and you can buy a simple property that's $150,000. When you get that property that's $150,000, you're going to do a hard money loan. Inside of the hard money loan, you take that $100,000 that we showed you how to go and get, take $20,000 to $35,000 of it for the down payment. And then when you do a hard money loan, when you start to do the rehab, you have to do draws. You have to pay the first portion of the rehab up front. When you pay that, you take that $100,000, pay that up front. And then once you complete the property, you bought a property that's $150,000 in the right area, one of those zip codes that we talked about in Atlanta that are amazing zip codes. And now after you finish, the after repair value on that house could be anywhere from $300,000 to $400,000, because property values are at an all-time high in Atlanta. So what you turn around and do is refinance out of that loan. Most companies will let you refinance out of that loan. And when you refinance, they'll give you 80% of their after repair value. So now you take that money, that same $100,000 that you're making payments on, you continue to make payments on that money, pull the money down from the equity in that property, rinse and repeat, and go and get you another property. That first property that you have is still paying for itself and is paying a rent back on that loan. But you were able to pull the money from that property to go and do your next one. You do that again, rinse and repeat, go and do it again. And you look up and you look down, and now you have a rental portfolio of 10 properties where you didn't use any of your own money to get it.
Look, I like the strategy.
That was a play.
You was definitely giving a play, but I want to put a disclaimer. right here on
Please.
this one, right?
Yes.
Look, understand if you're taking money and you borrowing, it's a loan, you have to pay it back.
Yes. You have
right?
to.
Absolutely.
There's
Absolutely.
a monthly payment associated with that, and flips do
Mhm.
flop, B. So I need you guys. It was
Absolutely.
a play, but that play,
Mhm.
you got to know what the hell you're doing. Because B,
You
doing
gotta
the
have a
first
good
strategy,
coach.
you got to
You
have a
gotta have
good
a
coach, a good
coach.
mentor. You got to have a good construction team. You got to have all your ducks in a row, because that play is not for the freshmen. All right,
Absolutely.
that play
Absolutely.
is for the live men, and especially when we're talking about during a correction in the market that's happening. I just want people to really understand what Nicole is saying is actual factual, right? But understand what's happening in the market and do your own research, do your own due diligence. All right, that's the
Now,
disclaimer for
I'll
Rants
tell
and
you
Gems.
that you're telling the truth on that, because on my
Facts.
first property that I rehabbed, I actually brought money to the table. I had a contractor that came in and put the walls. I had just went and found a Latino crew that somebody had told me about. By the time they put the drywall up, I had already did electrical, plumbing, all the rough ends. Inspector came through, knocked on the door, and at the end of the day, had to go to court. They made me tear all of the walls down. When they came, all electrical and everything was wrong. Had to take it out, redo it. I ended up losing $100,000 on that property. Turned around on my second property. This is 5 years ago. Exact same thing, just different loss, but it was still a loss. It wasn't really until I actually ran out and got me a for real real estate coach, which is actually Ramon Tooks, that helped guide me to understanding purchasing in the right area for the highest profit, and then also developing a strong team. So that has been my strong suit for my entire portfolio, that I have a very, very strong construction team.
Flips do flop every day, B. I want everybody to really understand that.
Man, that was a really good point.
No, it's facts.
It does work. You know, I think that method does work. The Burr method works for the specific zip codes, having the right team, and it's a good way to jump into investing. And I'm reading the comments. A lot of people are like, well, $150,000 where? You know, Atlanta is much bigger. We're the metro Atlanta area, not just the city of Atlanta. You know, we have to get beyond what's comfortable for you. I spoke to one investor and she was amazing. And what is the female house hustler? And her biggest thing was go where the money is. Don't just go where you think it looks fancy. She's going to go where the money is. She always looks at the rental market. So if that rental market is an hour and a half away from the city of Atlanta, but that house and that number makes sense for her, she purchases in that area. So keep that in mind when we're not just talking about Atlanta. I'm talking about Morrow. I'm talking about Macon. You can go further south. You can go further north, Canton. You need to have your mind open if you're going to be an investor.
No, I agree.
Columbus and Macon are on fire right now too. Lithonia, any area where home buyers actually want to live, and that you can go in and see that there's a high rental rate. Lithonia, Augusta, Macon, all of those. Covington is really hot and on fire right now because they have an amazing school in the Covington zip code. I don't even invest in the city of Atlanta anymore. All of my properties that I invest in are outside of Atlanta.
Absolutely, because it's just so much more expensive. So I think that this gave them some really good strategy. One, the strategy on you can purchase property. There's a strategy for Airbnb, and I think we can all agree, because y'all know I like to keep it a buck. All right, y'all know I'm the one that's going to just say what it is. The strategy for Airbnb is there is no real strategy, because you don't know what the city of Atlanta is going to do. All you can do, in my opinion, if I were you, if I had several Airbnbs, I would run it up while I can, so I can plan for the next move. And your next move may be to, plan for a long-term renter. So run up the money as much as you can, and then start researching the rental market and prepare for that dip in income. But also maybe that dip in income, what I would do, this is what I would do. If I was going to have a dip in income, I would run up as much money as I can and have enough money ready to purchase more rental property. So you can purchase more rental property for long-term renters, which are never going to go out of style. That way you won't have a dip in your income at all, and you have a bigger portfolio. That would be a strategy if I would use if I was an Airbnb host with several properties.
Something I want to add on to there, Quiana, is it's peak season too for Airbnb right now. Airbnb slow season doesn't really start until like September, October, when kids start going back to school. So that's a really great point. That's why I said, like, right now, I'm not telling my audience, we rolling. Like, we rolling business as usual. Nothing is abnormal about what I do every day. Just nothing. So I know it's kind of like it leaves us on edge, especially for people that are new, that are coming to the industry. Like, dang, should I do this or should I not? And honestly, I feel like when they do come out with this, whatever they're gonna do in September, I still don't know if they're gonna be able to enforce it the way they need to. Like Nicole said, I don't feel like they have the manpower. They just don't have it together. So I'm agreeing with that. Quiana, listen, we running it up. That's just what we doing right now.
Look, you got to run it up. Look, guys, get your questions answered. Put them in the chat. We're going to do a little Q&A. If you got any questions about the subject matter, put them in the chat. Ladies, you got a few minutes to answer a couple questions?
Yeah. I'm good. I'm good.
I'm on vacay. I don't have nothing but time.
I'm in the chat. Matt, you look for the questions. I'm going to give you guys some flowers. Kayla Hook says, Nicole is a great, fantastic real estate coach. I'm looking for transparency and experience, not the hype, exclamation point. Someone also said, super gorgeous ladies, love the conversation. Ramona said, oh, she was just saying that's where her family lived. They said someone also gave us a compliment, Matt. The evolution of Andrea said this Rants and Gems was good. That's perfect.
Thank you.
Matt's idea to go back live, y'all.
Thank you, Quiana. 1,600 people in the chat, yo.
I him tooth and nail. I'm like, Matt, do you understand?
She definitely fought me for this shit. I'm telling y'all.
Okay. I'm looking now. Someone also said, I'm reading. Just kind of going through the comments. Some people do feel like the rates for the BRRRR method and refinancing are too high. So Nicole, I wanted to ask you that quick question before we got to Jamie. What do you think about that? And then we'll move on to Jamie.
So one of the interest rates, whenever you're using somebody else's money, is always going to be high. But guys, I just want to tell you, if you don't have your own money, you have to pay to play. So in order to get your foot in the door, if you do that BRRRR method, the rinse and repeat, you absolutely are going to, because nobody's going to give you money for free. So there are a couple banks that do interest-free loans, but they're short-term loans. If you need something that's long-term, it's going to be a higher interest rate, especially if you're just coming out the gate, you don't have any business credit established, and you don't have any history of being an investor established. So you are going to have to pay much higher rates. But to make some money is better than to make no money. So if you can make some money on a couple deals and now you turn around and you don't have to use their money anymore, you can use your own money. And Quiana gave the best suggestion of all. Use that money while you can to run it up in Atlanta. And then you can go to other places that do have multifamilies where you can take a smaller profit and buy a bigger building. So if you don't have money, you don't have any other choice but to use somebody else's high interest money, because you got to get in the game. What's your other choice? Sit out the game?
I like that.
Got it. So look, Super Clark says, how would you start from zero in 2022?
From an investor standpoint, and then Alexa, I'll let you go ahead and do the Airbnb part. But from an investor standpoint, the first place you got to start is that credit. You got to get that credit together so you can get the funding to do any play that it is that you want to do. But the funding for real is going to be the first key, and having you an amazing coach that can help catapult your business to the next level without you making a ton of mistakes.
For Airbnb, a great way to start with no money is becoming a co-host. That could mean going into Airbnb, finding groups on Facebook, reaching out to your local host that you might know, your friends, and simply becoming a co-host. So basically, so what a co-host pretty much is just like your property manager. The person who runs your Airbnbs, who does your check-ins, your checkouts, make sure housekeeping gets done, and making sure inventory stays stocked. So the best way to start with no money in the Airbnb industry is to become a co-host. Becoming a co-host, you can use that money to you can run that money up to where you can actually get your own Airbnb property. So when I was in my second or third year doing Airbnb, I had interns. And I help my interns get their own Airbnbs. That was the ending goal. You will not leave not working for me without an Airbnb. And that's what it was. So they were my co-hosts. So the best way to start in the Airbnb industry with no money is becoming a co-host. You don't need any money to become a co-host.
Love it, love it. So Jamie Bronner says, "What's up, Jamie? When would be the best time to buy a house?" I would say
I think
now.
Quiana answered that. Now.
Yeah, now. No better time than the present.
Now.
Whenever you're ready. I think that historically, when you start talking about interest rates, interest rates were always at 8%. So now that rates are teetering between 5% and 6%, we want this to be a big deal for us. Like, oh my God, it's such a shocker. I'm going to wait. Where historically rates were always around 8%. So I would say buy a property when you are able to afford it, when you've saved the money, when you've educated yourself on the process, and you understand why you're purchasing that property in the first place, whether it's your first property, whether it's a legacy home, whether it's an investment property, whether you plan to get in the property now and wait. What is your plan? Have a strategy and purchase the property now. I wouldn't wait. And I'm gonna give you a little context about that. The reason I wouldn't wait, think about back in, 2000. The prices in the year 2000 was much lower. That's when I used to see those $165,000 mini mansions all over the city of Atlanta, right? Those same properties today are worth $300,000, $400,000, even if they're in the suburban areas. Even when the market shifts, it never goes back to where it was 10 years ago. We may correct ourselves, but we're never going to go backwards. So real estate will always be the safe choice as long as you're educated about the process and the location.
And I believe in crypto. I believe in a ton of other investment strategies. But one thing that I know for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, real estate has been the vehicle forever that has taken people from zero in their bank account to multi-millions. Banks invest in two things with our money. They're investing in real estate and insurance. And if the wealthiest institution in the world is investing in real estate, we should be too.
Next question, Tooks. All right. So Scissor says, is it better to try getting a loan for a personal property or investment property if investment is what you want? I'm told investment property loans are more complex. Well, not really, right? They're not really more complex, Scissor. If you are getting a loan in your LLC, we're looking at the cash flow of the property. We're not looking at you and your W-2s. Now, if you're trying to do like a conventional Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, then yeah, we qualifying you based off of your personal qualifications, meaning your W-2, your tax returns, your debt to income ratio. So it's a little bit more paperwork intense. But if you're looking to purchase in your LLC, it's all about the cash flow. So if the cash flow is right, even if you open a brand new LLC, because most people think you need an LLC that has established business credit and you don't. It could be a brand new LLC, and as long as that property cash flows, you can probably get a loan for it. Good question, though. Next one. Let's do one more question and call it a day. There was a question here about the Airbnb host. You saw that one? Oh, here we go. Mike says, I've gained over 40% equity in my home in Dallas, Texas. Shout out to you. Would you recommend holding it for a few years? I have brought this home in December 2020, and you got 40% equity. I will hold it personally and probably tap some of that equity because, look, equity is monopoly money. I need everybody to understand that. Type monopoly money in the chat, right? Yeah. Because it's just like your stock portfolio. It's just like your Bitcoins and your crypto. Unless you take the money out, it's unrealized gains. So 40% of equity today, if the market does, quote unquote, crash and loses 20%, now you just lost 20% of that equity. So it's not like you can go to your house and put your ATM card and take the money out whenever you want, right? It's not guaranteed to be there when you actually need it. So what I try to advise people is, one, have a plan if you're going to take equity out of your house, especially your primary residence, because that's the church's house. That's the church's money. You don't want to mess up church money, right? Yeah. Number two, you should only take it out to invest. Number three, you should understand it's new debt and it's a second lien on your mortgage and it's going to have a mortgage payment. So whatever your plan is, make sure you can afford that mortgage payment just in case you flip-flop or your tenants don't pay because there's more debt. But I'm a fan of taking out a HELOC and using it to invest. But again, this is strictly for live men, not for freshmen. So make sure you know exactly what you're doing. Ladies, your thoughts on this?
I would definitely take the money out and, look for ways to invest. Don't go ball out with it. We've all made that mistake. And as I would call myself as a baby investor. I call myself a baby investor because I just buy, hold, and rent. But now,
girl, do not dim your light on Rants and Jim's show, please. You are on EYL Network. How dare you dim your light? You are not no baby. You are the queen of the damn South. Don't play with us.
All right, let me tell you what I mean by that is I buy and hold. I'm not into the flipping. Me and my husband tried to flip. We had flips that flopped and lost money. So we prefer new construction. We prefer to build it. We know what's in it. We understand the bones. You start from the beginning and you can just get out of it. You still do what's called a draw. But if I were you, Mike, if you pull out even 20% of this money and get you a second property so you can cash flow, get you an Airbnb or a long-term renter, I feel like that would be a great idea to do so, especially when you run the numbers, because it's all about the numbers with a professional and make sure those numbers make sense. So you're in the green. You don't want to break even. You actually want to be in the green.
What's your thoughts, Nicole?
So personally for me, I actually would pull the money out. There are two different directions that I would go. The first one is I pull the money out. I would get a coach. People fail every time in real estate because they don't feel like they can go and get somebody that's smarter than them in that particular arena to guide them so they don't make mistakes. One thing that I'm going to guarantee you, because I am her, I lost over $200,000 when I could have just, on those two flips that I did, my first two flips 5 years ago, when I could have just paid a coach $25,000, $35,000, $50,000, and I could have been $150,000 to the good. So I would take part of that money, go and find me an amazing coach. But the second part is I would definitely invest that money into a quad. What you'll find in a quad is 2 of the units will actually pay for the actual building, and then 2 of the units can pay, depending upon, if you're not balling out in a multi-million-dollar property, you can take 2 of the rents and, like I said, pay for the actual building that you actually purchased, and then take 2 of the units and either save that money or use that money to pay off your current residence. And now you're living for free.
I love that.
I love it. I love it.
I'm looking in the group chat. All we got is we have so many great comments. Buy the land. We're excited. Atlanta real estate is amazing. Get the multifamily. If people want to know about multifamily, I can tell you that episode will be coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
I personally want you guys to know that just investing in real estate all around, there's a lot of things. We call everything a scam or everything is too good to be true. But I know 2 things for sure. I got to walk into a house, turn the lights on and turn the lights off. And I would much rather be the owner of my land and the owner of my property when I do that.
I agree. Look, drop some gems in the comment, man. This real estate rundown was a phenomenal segment. Alexia, Nicole, any final parting words before we let you guys go? We really appreciate you guys coming in. So we need y'all to drop some gems in the comments for these ladies.
I want to see some gems. I'm watching the comments.
Yes, we see them gems coming. So Alexia, leave us off with a final thought.
Y'all, Atlanta is a really great market for real estate, for Airbnb. I am so happy to be on with Nicole, Quiana, and Matt. This was amazing. I even learned a lot. I am here to tell y'all, if y'all are coming to Atlanta or if you're looking to invest here, this is the right place. We have not really figured out what's going on with this Airbnb ordinance, but it's coming. I'm not too worried about it, and I run over 30 properties. So if I have 30 plus properties, having 1 or 2 or even 5 or even 10, it can't get any worse. So good luck to everybody. And like I said, I'm so happy to be on here with y'all.
I echo that. I'm so excited to have had the opportunity to share this stage with Alexa, Quiana, and Matt. You guys are absolutely phenomenal. Follow each one of you guys and respect all of your works. In closing, for everybody that's out there that's watching, stop being scared. Get off the bench. Get in the game. The time is actually now. Educate yourselves, fix your credit, understand about financing, but the most important thing is to get in the game. If you want to change your life, I'm going to guarantee you changing your life is not going to be going to that 9 to 5 that you go to every day. If you really want to jump into something where I'm in Bali. I inked the biggest deal of my career right here in Bali. You can do real estate from anywhere in the world. if you want to change your life, real estate is the vehicle. And you have 4 people here that are ready to hold your hand and walk you through the finish line. Get off the sidelines, get into the game, and we're ready to help you.
Look.
And guys, last thing, I'm sorry, if you want to join my community, please text 678-737-3777. Again, that's 678-737-3777. You'll be the first one to know when I have classes dropping and any of the real estate rants and gems that I picked up along the way. So I'm excited. Thank you guys. Quiana, I love you. You already know how I adore you. Simply adore you. Matt, I love you. I'm so proud of the success that you guys are celebrating, but more importantly, thank you for what y'all doing for our culture.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for joining, Nicole. Much love. You know I love you too. Alexia, much love. Love you too. Make sure y'all tap. We're going to put all their contact information in the description of this video. Make sure you guys tapping them and everything they're doing. Drop some more gems in the comments for these 2 queens of real estate. Let's go, y'all. Come on.
Enjoy Bali, Nicole.
Enjoy Bali. Be safe.
Thank you. Love you guys.
Look, Quiana, I told you.
Y'all, let me tell y'all the truth. The truth is, we have so many previously recorded episodes in the bank, and Matt was like, we got to go live. We got to go back to going live. And I can tell you the energy is here. 2 women I respect in their fields. Alexia, she is onto something. She was the first person I seen really hitting it hard with these Airbnbs. Nicole, y'all know, like, y'all have no idea the relationships we have in this business. Nicole is just a phenomenal person, and she takes the time to learn about everything. And I just love her energy and what she brings to our real estate market here in Atlanta. And I just want to say, this was a great episode. Like, we're live, we're back giving you guys real information,
real time.
Make sure that if you find it valuable, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and tell a friend. Pass this to 3 friends if you feel like this is going to give you some information you need.
Absolutely. Look, so audience, I'm going to take a poll right now. If y'all want to see Rants and Gems live every week, current events, real estate rundowns, I need y'all to throw some fires in the chat right now. Throw some gems in the chat. Forget the fire. Throw some gems in the chat if you want to see us live every Wednesday, bringing you guys the latest and greatest of what's happening with the housing market from a national perspective, and also our real estate rundowns where we're tapping in with local markets. So throw some gems in the comment if you want to see us going live every single Wednesday, giving y'all that fire.
I know some great realtors in all the markets, so we can interview people every week. Okay, I know agents in New York, LA, Miami, Jacksonville, Orlando. I think it would be really interesting to see, because right now real estate is a hot topic. Like, we talk about building our portfolios all the time. I do think that the live is better. Y'all gonna have to vote for it though. You're gonna have to vote. If you go to my page and see the behind the scenes, I was stressed out. I got all I done ordered all kind of stuff, but I do feel it's valuable information. And I love glitz and glam, and I like to have this big production. But for me, and where I am right now, I want y'all, I'm very transparent. I got to figure out, I want my brain to be fed with information so I can start making more money passively, so I don't have to work as hard.
Absolutely.
I'd rather work harder in my mind and not on my feet. So this is what you can learn. So if you appreciated this episode and you want more episodes like this, and you don't mind the split screen, you don't mind that we don't have the glitz and glam, and you want the real, true, raw information from professionals all around the world, please comment, and subscribe, because y'all commenting, liking, and subscribing will give us the energy and also the reassurance that we're on the right track for the Rants and Gems show, because we do take this personally.
Absolutely. So type in chat, what city on next week's real estate rundown, what city should we visit? We did Atlanta this week. Type in chat, what city you guys want to see on the real estate rundown. And again, if you are a business and you want to sponsor the real estate rundown segment, tap in, email Jordana@rantsandgems.com. The comments is going bonkers right now. We love it. We love it. So look, let's do some last minute housekeeping items. We've been on here almost 2 hours, right? Yes. What you got going on for the rest of the week?
Me for the rest of the week, it is all about, I have a new course coming out on our online group, Agent Tools for Success. We talk to and teach other agents. And our first course is going to be about how to develop, build, and sell your first property. I don't like to talk numbers, but let's just say me and my husband, this is our first property that we built and we sold it today. And if you are a real estate professional, it's time for you to get off the side of begging people to get their listings, and you need to build, create, and list your own product. You're getting paid 5 different ways, and it's just more profitable, and you're going to be in control of the market. So follow Agent Tools for Success for more information about that. And what else I got going on this week? Oh, CEO Society. You know, we have our society. It's all about just camaraderie, and we have Tiffany Latoya and Ronnie Brown in our CEO Society group. I teach about real estate. Ronnie teaches about brand development, and Tiffany is teaching about government contracting. I'm going to tell you guys about government contracting. As this market corrects itself, I know that I'm positioning myself and getting my contracting so I can represent the government in real estate, because that's going to be the play. So think bigger than what you already know. If you want to know more about that, go to ceosociety.com. And then I'm going to New York this weekend. I'm going to be at this huge development.
Yeah, we outside.
Yeah, we outside. I'm going to this development meeting. And of course, I had to let Matt know I'm coming in the city because I'm doubling down on development. So I'm super excited about going to this conference about development in New York this weekend. And I'm pretty much preparing for InvestFest. InvestFest is going to be the vibe.
Look, man. So yeah, InvestFest, man. Make sure y'all go to investfest.com. Get your tickets today. It's going to be phenomenal. We got a couple more nuclear bombs we're about to announce. So you guys stay tuned for that. InvestFest.com is where you guys need to go. And, you know, July 12th, 13th, and 14th, I'm having a real estate investing webinar, masterclass, 3 days. I mean, it's going to be phenomenal. So if you want to learn everything you need to know about build to rent financing, Section 8, property management, construction financing, hard money financing, I got a couple special guest teachers that's coming through July 12th, 13th, and 14th, real estate investing webinar. DM me the word masterclass on my IG page, MG the Mortgage Guy. If you want to get the link to sign up for that, trust me, you don't want to miss that, especially what we're talking about is investing here on today's show. There's a lot of opportunity out there. Don't let the news fool you. Don't let the fear mongering stop you from going out there and invest, because that's exactly what they want, y'all. They don't want you to win. They don't want you to eat. They want to eat for themselves and make you a renter. So we need to be able to still go out here, especially as Black people. We need to go out here and we need to own some real estate and own investment properties and build our generational wealth. So that's all I got for y'all. That's all I really got going on. Obviously, if y'all want some financing, I can help you. Link is in all my bio for all my resources. Or in the description of this video, we'll put all of Quiana's and my resources there if you guys want to tap in with us. All right. Great episode. Shout out to Alexia and Nicole. This is Matt Garland, NMLS number 58700, but better known as MG the Mortgage Guy.
And this is Quiana Watson, license number 317576, better known as Broker Extraordinaire, now Builder Bay. Thank you guys for tuning in to another incredible episode of the Rants and Gems Show live experience.
Peace.